What if you could pay less each month for your Medicare supplement plan and still have the same coverage? Now, I know that might sound a little confusing at first, but for some people, that's actually possible. If two plans offer the same standardized benefits, why does one cost more than the other? And that's the part many people don't understand, because they just tend to stay on the same plan year after year without realizing there may be lower cost options available with the same kind of coverage. So in this video, I'm going to break down why that happens, how pricing for Medicare supplement plans actually works, and what to look for to make sure that you're not paying more than you need to. Hey, my name is Eric, and I'm a licensed Medicare agent. And the first thing that many people don't realize or understand is how pricing for Medicare supplement plans actually works. And that is that Medicare supplement plans, often called Medigap plans, are standardized by the federal government. What this means is that benefits for each plan type are set not by the insurance companies, but by the government. So for example, a Plan G with one insurance company is going to offer the same core medical benefits as a Plan G with another insurance company. And the same principle applies to other plans such as Plan N, Plan A, and most other lettered plans. The coverage itself stays consistent regardless of which company you choose. But here's the part that surprises people. While the benefits are standardized, the pricing is not. The insurance company themselves set their own prices and premiums, and these can vary quite a bit even for the same type of plan. So it is possible for two people to have the same type of coverage but pay different monthly premiums because they have different companies. And this is of course where the opportunity and the confusion comes in, because most people assume, well, if the coverage is the same, the price must be pretty much the same too, right? But that's not exactly how it works. And that's actually how people can end up paying more on their monthly premiums without even realizing it. To illustrate my point, I'll give you a quick example. Think about going to the pharmacy to buy something like Tylenol, let's say. When you go to the pharmacy, you may see on the shelf the brand name of a certain medicine, and then right next to it, you might see the store brand with the same exact active ingredient. Both may serve the same purpose, but one usually will cost more than the other one. And at that point, the decision basically comes down to whether or not the brand name for you justifies paying the higher price. And when it comes to Medicare supplement plans, something similar can happen. A lot of people naturally gravitate towards well-known, well-established insurance companies. And these are names they've heard for years, they feel comfortable with, and to be honest, that's completely understandable. As they say, familiarity creates confidence. But when it comes to Medigap plans, the coverage itself is standardized. So choosing a more recognizable brand doesn't necessarily change the type of medical benefits that you will receive. But what it can change is the price you will pay for that coverage. And there's another reason that people sometimes pay more than they need to, and that's because they may not realize how many options are actually available to them. What can sometimes happen is people hear about the big companies, they choose one that seems like a good fit, and then they never go back and review their plan or explore other options. And again, that's understandable. Once you make a decision, it's nice to have the peace of mind to just say, hey, set it and forget it. But just keep in mind that prices can change over time. So a plan that may have been competitive when you or someone else first enrolled may not be as competitive as it once was. And then if you're not checking in on your plan periodically, you may not realize the other comparable plans and options available to you in your area. Now, this isn't to say that you or anyone else is overpaying necessarily, but it is a good idea to go over your plan annually just to make sure that you're still satisfied. Because overpaying even as little as $50 a month can add up to hundreds of dollars over the course of a year, and even thousands of dollars over the course of several years. And this overpayment is typically unnecessary, especially since the core benefits are going to be the same regardless of which company you go with. And I wanted to touch on another piece that's important to understand here. And that's that with a Medicare supplement plan, the insurance company isn't the one making decisions about your medical coverage. In fact, they're what's known as a secondary payer. That means Medicare is billed first, Medicare reviews and approves the claim, and then your Medigap plan helps cover its share of their remaining costs. And because of that structure, Medigap plans typically do not use provider networks. They typically don't require referrals, and they follow Medicare's decisions on covered services. So in most cases, the insurance company you choose doesn't change the underlying medical benefits you receive. But now here's where it's important to slow down for just a second, because that doesn't necessarily always mean that the lowest price is the best choice, because there are other factors to consider, and that's where a lot of people get tripped up. The lowest price you find today isn't always the best value over time. And this is something a lot of people don't realize when they're first choosing a plan. Some insurance companies may offer lower starting premiums, especially for people who are newly eligible for Medicare. Those lower rates can be very attractive at the beginning, but over time, premiums can increase. And the pace of those increases can vary from one company to another. In some cases, the plan that starts off as the lower cost option may not remain that way over time. And that's why it's important to look beyond just the starting price. But now, why do these premiums increase? One reason has to do with how insurance companies manage their plans over time. Sometimes a company may decide to stop offering a certain plan to new members. So when that happens, the group of people in that plan continue to age and a healthcare usage increases. And for that reason, premiums can adjust accordingly. And this is sometimes referred to as a closed block or a closed book of business. It simply means that no new members are being added to that specific plan. And without new, younger enrollees, the cost of that plan can shift over time. Now, this doesn't happen the same way with every company, but it is one thing that can influence how premiums change as the years go on. And it's why looking at the long-term value can be just as important as looking at the monthly premium. So at this point, you know that the coverage for each Medigap plan is standardized. You know that pricing can vary from one company to another company, and that in some cases, you may end up paying more with one company versus another for the same type of coverage. And you also know that the lowest monthly premium or lowest cost today doesn't always necessarily mean the best long-term value. So the question becomes, how do you figure out which company is the right fit for you? Well, the good news is there is a straightforward way to approach this. And once you understand what to look for, it becomes much easier to make a confident and informed decision. The first step is to get an idea of what pricing looks like in your area. What this will do is give you a baseline to work from. From there, you can start narrowing down your options to companies that are priced competitively and reasonably. Once you have a short list, the next thing is to look at the company itself. One way to do that is by looking at financial strength ratings. There are independent agencies like AM Best that evaluate insurance companies based on their financial stability. In general, you'll want to look for companies with strong ratings, as this will give you a good indicator on whether or not they're in a good long-term position. After that, it can be a good idea to see how a company's pricing has changed over time. You want to look for patterns that are steady and predictable, rather than large, unexpected increases. And if you want to take it a step further, you can also look at customer experience data. Organizations like the National Association of Insurance Commissioners provide information on consumer complaints. And what this can do is give you insight as to how the company handles complaints. And if this feels like a lot to sort through, it's totally understandable. And this is actually where working with an independent Medicare broker can actually be quite helpful. An independent broker works with several different insurance companies rather than just one. And so they can help you compare your options side by side. And in many cases, they can help show you how your current premium compares to other premiums that are available to you in your area. Now, once you have all this information, the next question becomes, what can you actually do with it? Can you switch companies and keep the same type of plan? And the short answer is yes, switching is possible. And in many cases, you can apply to move your Medigap plan to a different company at different times during the year. There isn't a single annual enrollment period or window like there is for other parts of Medicare, but there is an important detail to understand. If you're applying to switch outside of your initial enrollment period, the new company may ask questions about your health. And this process is called medical underwriting. And based on that information, the company may decide whether or not to offer you coverage and under what terms. So while switching is possible, it's not always automatic. And it can depend heavily on your specific situation at the time that you apply. Now, there are certain states that do offer more flexibility. For example, some states have rules that do allow you to switch plans during a specific period each year without having to go through medical underwriting. Other states also offer broader protections, which can make it easier to change coverage if you ever decide to. But in many parts of the country, health status can still be a major factor when switching plans. So this is just something to be aware of as you're considering your different options. So now here's the bottom line. If you have a Medicare supplement plan, the coverage is standardized by the federal government. That means something like a Plan G offers the same basic benefits as another Plan G with another company. What can be different though is the price that you're paying for that specific plan. It may be possible that there is same or similar coverage in your area for a cheaper price. And over time, even a modest difference in monthly premium can add up over time. So it really can be worth your time to look into what you're paying and how it compares to other plans that are available in your area. You can also speak with a licensed independent Medicare broker who can help you look and compare different options available to you in your specific area. Lastly, it's also a good idea to understand how your specific state handles medical underwriting. This will let you know what to expect if you do ever decide to change plans. Now, if you're still working and over the age of 65, and you're still trying to understand how Medicare works with your current employer coverage, watch this video and I'll break down the key rules you want to know to help you make an informed decision about your coverage.